Well, TikTok got banned.
Yeah. So some of you are
Who knows? By the
stressing.
time people watch this, it might be back on. Who
Yeah.
knows?
So some of you are like, I guess I'll watch YouTube.
Some of them are out of their habits. We talked about habits in the message.
Yeah.
Everybody's you're off your TikTok habit, man. People are freaking out.
Yeah. Welcome to the other side, YouTube.
You just got Don't just don't just exchange it for YouTube. You got some space back. Maybe we started talking about spiritual habits and spiritual formation and where we spend our time. God
removing
took it
stuff.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just going to clean it all up.
To give you some space and some time to actually do these spiritual habits. On a different note, I found this in the other room in one of our small group rooms.
That's from my wife.
Your wife
she loves me. Also, I try to write in her handwriting, so it's actually from me.
He just leaves these around the church, so I'm like, man, people really love you here. We should keep you on staff.
It is. Actually, when you're not around, I usually tell them to fill out, put that on the back of their connection card.
Yeah, that's why I get a lot of that.
Justin did a great job. I said that last week. I said, make sure Will knows I love working here.
Yeah, no, I get phone calls and everything. I get texts before search is even over. Justin did a great job today.
Oh, that's right. I have like 12 different phone numbers.
Yeah. Well, what's your thought on this series so far? I mean, we really feel like this is laying a foundation for the whole year for Community Christian, and the series is called Practicing the Way of Jesus.
Yeah, I texted you on Wednesday and said, I think I'm going to try and keep fasting on Wednesdays for lunch, and just try to devote more time for prayer and being in the Word. I need to just pray more. So it was kind of supposed to line up with the prayer thing that we challenged this week. But even then, this happened to me. I got stuck in conversations and meetings, so I just blasted through my lunchtime, which isn't really fasting. That's just busy.
Yeah.
So I have to be better at that. I think this week,
I think you got to do these spiritual practices. It does take rhythm, and I just want to remind you, it's okay to put it on your calendar. I do that with you. You know, our team knows that I go away once a quarter, and it's on my calendar so that I can pray and process and ask the Lord about vision and write and do some things. And so that's on my calendar. And I think when we fast sometimes, man, I got to block it out like I have a lunch meeting. I'm having a lunch meeting with the Lord. That's a relationship. Put it on your,
That's wise. So, I think I need to do that. I think this week is even harder for people. I mentioned to people, and I've done Work of Heart as well. I did it.
That's a book that I went through with a mentor.
Yeah, and I went through it with a group of pastors in Colorado when I was doing seminary. I flew to Colorado. I think I was working at South Valley back then, and we did a week of digging into that stuff.
I don't think I knew you did that.
And it was. I actually came back and went and I kind of did a 12-step thing and went and apologized to a bunch of people, and it kind of straightened me out a little bit, got me ready for the next season of ministry for me. So I think spiritual assessment, spiritual audit, however you want to call it, formation audit is what we're calling it. This is like a hard one. Like setting aside 5 minutes to pray. Even setting aside a meal.
Because we know, the stats say most people pray daily anyway. So some people were already in that habit to some extent.
You're like, I pray for the whole time on the freeway. I'm praying that I don't
stay alive.
Yeah, stay alive.
So just a reminder, prayer was the practice we called you to the first week. Wanted you to continue in that rhythm. That's how we spend time with Jesus. And then, this week we're sending out a formation audit. You can find it on practicingtheway.org. Or again, we told people they could write on the connection card. You can also use a digital connection card if you get on our website and just write, spiritual audit or formation audit. We'll send you the link to it.
Right.
But like you said, it's going to take some time.
It's going to take some time. You did it different than I did. I had them sign up, and then I told them it was going to be an hour. You told them on the front end it was going to be an hour, and I was like, no, you need to bury that lead.
Does that make you more like a timeshare salesman?
I think so.
Okay,
I think so. It was kind of like a used car.
Which I might buy a timeshare from you.
That's right. So, but our time and the rhythms of our life, we need to give that to the Lord too. And there's nothing wrong with sitting down and really looking at your life and the current of your life and going, these are the things, these are the experiences, these are the people, this is the things that happened to me or the home I grew up in, and they have impacted me, good or bad. Some of us have great, like, man, I'm so grateful for my parents and the faith of my grandparents, and I can see this. Others of us have some things that we don't want to carry forward, and they've hurt us, and we've had to deal with that. And the majority of us have a mixture of both. There's good and bad that has happened in
and we
everybody's
have to
life.
be conscious of them and actually process them, even the painful ones, to know what part of it to carry forward, what's the learning experience, to experience God's compassion. And you're right, that's the hard part, to just own, hey, this is part of my history, but it's just so good when we do. You talked about the 12 steps. It's amazing to me as we talk about the spiritual journey and we talk about practicing the way of Jesus, so many things do line up with the 12 steps. Why? Because when somebody wants to move towards sobriety and health, dude, there's major work that has to be done and major choice and awareness and ownership. And that's just true of the spiritual journey. That's why the 12 steps are a spiritual journey. It starts with this acknowledgement of there's a power greater than me, because it's a spiritual path and process. And again, I just want to remind people, none of these things are magic. Like prayer is not magic. Hey, how am I going to be formed in my life is not magic. No, they're the things I'm aware of. I'm putting myself in a space through prayer or through doing a formation audit to say, okay, God, I want to know what shaped me and what's shaping me now and where it's taken me. I want to create space to be with you and have you speak into my life and to be present with you. It's about creating space through all these things to be aware of God's working in your life and to be conscious of where you are going. And so it takes work and it takes effort.
And it takes discipline.
Yes.
And all of those things are hard for us to apply to a spiritual life. Like if you're disciplined in working out or disciplined in your job or building something, there's something tangible right away before your eyes, right? Mm-hmm. So, or I don't know how it works in a gym. Over time, you're going to see improvement in areas that you're working on. The spiritual journey is different than that. I mean, the things that you get good at are hard to quantify, but it's usually like peace of mind, less anxiety, confidence, trust, but they're not tangible. And our world wants tangible.
Yeah. All the people who have written about spiritual disciplines all talk about the time aspect of it. This takes time. It's a slow process of change or metamorphosis. I happened to read Comer's book last night that this is all based on. I was reading because our team's reading through it again. And Comer says something to the fact that, like, you look at people in their later stage of life and you can see how they've been formed over time. He says people who are later on in life, kind of that last season of life, a lot of them are really peaceful or joyful or happy and love relationships, or they're really crusty and mean because we are formed over time and we really see how that plays out. I mean, yes, it's a long game and it's a discipline. That's why we say to people, hey, when you start praying, start where you're at. Just start a couple minutes a day, because if you just prayed 2 or 3 minutes a day where you really stopped and said, I'm engaging with Jesus here, right? Man, over a lifetime, the relationship you would have and how that would probably grow, or we would even develop more of a desire to be in that space longer the more we do it. Yeah, it's the small.
We talk about this a lot, or at least I do with our team, of 1% improvements and how we're leading, and 1% improvement, like talking in children's ministry or student ministry, 1% improvement every week over the course of a year.
Even over a year, huge.
50% every week, 1%. And so you end up with small things. And then there'll be times when Shelly or Lindsay text me and go, I think I made like a 5% improvement.
Yeah, we just made a big jump, a big change that
big
worked.
Change, it's going to work. But the same is true for our spiritual rhythms of just being faithful, being in the Word, praying, doing those things with one another. And I think over time, you'll see the improvement. But yeah, it's not a light switch.
I just react to that so much in a good way because I just so believe in just daily faithfulness. And as we celebrated Peggy this weekend and all her years of paid ministry, but she's going to continue to serve. It's who she is. Just consistency. matters just daily. We want to make these huge steps. We want the spiritual life to click in now and it's to be perfect. No, spiritual life has ups and downs. Yeah. It is a relationship with Jesus, practicing the way. And some days I do it really well. And some days, oh man, I mess it up and I see where I need to be more like my Savior. But just that faithfulness over time matters. And that's what we're trying to teach in this and lay the foundation and to be conscious and aware of where we're going. So I really want to challenge the church, spend an hour. I mean, even if you only spend 20 minutes, it's going to be worth your time. But if you can find an hour to go through that spiritual assessment or formation audit to ask, like, what are my routines, habits, environment, all those things doing to me and where is it taking me? I believe we're going to be in a better spiritual place as we move forward in 2025.
Yeah, if you didn't see those messages, maybe watch the message too. I think even listening to that the service, I think as we teach through those things, you could probably start, oh yeah, these are the people, these are the moments, these are the things that have shaped me. And so watch the message, worship with us, grab the assessment, and I think you will be blessed by that.
Yeah, and pick one or two things that you can move forward in. So I'll give you one. Last year, I realized like some of my long-term friendships are important to me. I want to sustain those. There's some couple guys that I've done life with since high school, and they fill me up when I'm with them. And all three of us are very different, and we kind of push different buttons in each other in a good way. And so we just said last year, let's start being committed to once a month having lunch together.
That's awesome.
Right? That's a good thing because down the road, I want to say, yeah, I invested in them, and they invested in me, and we continue to do life together, but it takes intentionality. And so I shifted that. And I would much rather give an hour to having that lunch than watching another YouTube video or something else I could be doing.
TikTok.
Maybe TikTok. Maybe you'll get it back. So, hey, church, we love you. Take a time to do that, as Jeremy would say. Take some time to do that spiritual assessment, that formation audit. We hope it'll be a blessing to you.
Bless off.